Hey guys, the name is Kris Barocsi. Welcome to Comment Time 19. This time, I try to answer a couple of interesting comments about, for example, about this guy, about the electronics and pods and everything of the Troublecaster, about the pickup height of my main Tele, about connecting stereo effects in mono or stereo, and a little bit about the importance of wood in electric guitars, even though I didn't want to talk about that anymore, but just a few sentences. Thanks so much for all the comments. I really appreciate them. It's awesome to see all your questions and statements and your opinion and everything. Keep them coming. Meet you down there in the comment section. As always, if you have anything to share or ask, go for it. All right, let's start with a comment from Gunnar Ernir Bergesen. This came under the latest Troublecaster video I made, where I swapped the pickups and swapped the bridge and modified the pickguard. What kind of pots do you have in this guitar? 250K or 500K? Now that's a very good question, and it's actually one of the hardest things to give advice to anyone. If you have a guitar with single coils, it's pretty simple. Stick to around 250K. In most cases, that's going to work best. If you have a humbucker guitar, a passive humbucker guitar, stick to 500K. If it's too harsh, maybe 300K. Those are the standards. But for P90s, I remember researching on the internet, like before I got into like P90s that much, like what is like an ideal pot for P90s, and I've found everything, like pretty much everything from 250 to 500K, and I was like, yeah, thanks for the help. I still don't know what to do. So I stick to 500K first, and I really like the results because this way you have the punchy big tone of a P90, but you still have that openness, that clarity that you kind of want from a single coil pickup, which the P90 is, right? It's a single coil, it's just a really beefy one. So 500K pots in this guitar, I've left them in. These were the original pots that I used for the TV Jones or the Filtertrons, which was, of course, nice and comfy. I didn't have to swap them, but I was ready to change it in case it's just a bit too much, too harsh, which it wasn't. So 500K is pretty cool. All right, next one is fun. This is from Jiri Järvinen. I've never fully removed the finish, but I've satinized a couple. Just used one of those sponges you use to clean your kitchen with a rough side and with a soft side. Worked super well. First, use the coarse to break the finish and then smooth it with the softer side. Kind of ghetto, but now my Harley Benton T-style has just the kind of neck I like. Don't know if I'd use it on some 2,000 euro plus guitar though, but then again, if I bought a 2,000 euro plus guitar, the neck better already be satin. Okay, first of all, this is a really cool idea. I love the DIY aspect of it. Yeah, about the 2,000 euro plus guitars better be satin. It depends. If it's a modern guitar, most of those will have a satin neck because it's just a more modern spec. If it's a reissue, well, satin wasn't really a thing earlier, so it will probably be gloss, like gloss finished, or if it's like a relic, then it will be sort of removed on the backside of the neck, like this. About the sponge. I really like the idea. There's one very important thing you didn't write though, and that's if you used it dry or wet with some sort of a polishing paste or whatever. That's a very important piece of the puzzle. Yuri, if you see this and hear this, let us know what you used with it. Just as it is, dry and that's it, or whatever else. Next one is from Ilmiras Chormatulinas. Hello, Kris. Thanks for the awesome content you are producing here. Thanks so much, Ilmiras. I really appreciate it. The pickups on your Tele seem to be pretty close to the strings, especially the neck pickup. Could you please tell me a rough estimate in millimeters? It may be an illusion of cinematography, of course, but they seem a lot closer than on mine. I can give you a very exact measurement if you want to. Let's do it. Bridge pickup. At the 6th string, I'm pushing down the string at the last fret, as that's how I always measure pickup height. And then it reads pretty much exactly 2 millimeters at the 6th string, and 1 millimeter at the 1st string. Was it really 2? Yeah, 2 and 1. So it's higher up on the 1st string side. And then the neck pickup, wow, 1 millimeter at the 1st string, and pretty much the same. 1.1, 1.2 millimeters on the 6th string side. This is really, really high. Like, I don't, even if I hit the strings really hard, they don't touch the pickups at all. And of course, you have to be careful with rising single coil pickups way too high, especially neck pickups. On strats, this can be really, really annoying. This ghost note, or whatever it's called, where you have the pickup too high, and then if you play something above the 12th fret, it just doesn't sound right anymore. It has like a weird harmonic content, almost like having a harmonizer on, like a really dissonant second tone, and that's terrible. So it's not that. It's not happening here. Okay, I don't know if it's because it's a Tele pickup. I don't know if it's because of the cover on the Tele neck pickup, or just because it's so quiet that it still doesn't do that, or like the magnet is so weak that it doesn't really pull the string, because the magnet would be the reason for that weird effect that strats sometimes have. Next one is from Kostas Hatsis. Hey Kris, awesome advice for more distinct playing, but I have an irrelevant question. I think it's relevant. Any chance you will do a video about rolling or rounding a fretboard either on your channel or on Thoman's at some point? Thanks in advance. Short answer, yes. It's gonna happen. The longer answer, even though I cannot tell too much about, I can maybe tease things a little. We are literally just days away of announcing something really cool, and it's gonna happen on both channels in a different way, but you will get parts of the story on this channel and on the Thoman's channel. So I'm looking at something right there off camera, and I cannot show it. This is gonna be awesome. Stay tuned. All right. Let's talk about the is wood any important in electric guitar's theme? I made this reaction video where I reacted to Jim Lill's test, where he used different guitars and built different sort of guitars to prove that the only thing that really matters is the pickup and the pickup height. Fonodella writes this under my reaction video. The only thing with your statement is that strings never touch the wood. Even when fretting, the strings are in contact with is the fret. So stating that the rest of the guitar will dampen the string is incorrect. Do not fret and bridge. Also, I think people insist on tone coming from wood because of acoustic guitars, in which the whole guitar's body is the amplifier, when the main purpose of the electric guitar was to avoid the resonance of the acoustic guitars. People just like to justify what they pay for with whatever they can think of without thinking. This is just an example of those comments, and thanks a lot, man. This was very respectful, and I absolutely accept your opinion. The issue is why I didn't want to talk about that whole subject anymore is because I got really sad reading the comments. Like, the majority is still, super positive, and whatever their opinion was, it was respectful, which is something that is important for me because it's just freaking wood. You don't need to be angry and arrogant and attack other people for their opinion because of this. It's just not worth it, right? It's unimportant. It's just a little thing that we like to talk about and everyone has an opinion about. Don't get rude. It's ridiculous. And a lot of people got rude and pretty angry. And I don't get it, first of all, why people sort of pay so much attention to this and get so angry about it and have theories that people rip them off and whatever. It's so interesting and so, well, a little bit depressing, honestly. So I didn't want to talk about that too much anymore because it's nonsense as well. Because if you read most of those comments, the angry comments, there's no way anyone can change their opinion, which is fine. I didn't want to force my opinion on anyone. I just wanted to share it because this is what I think, and I don't know, I will not just shut up because the vast majority of Jim's viewers were totally clear on a certain conclusion, which, yeah, of course, it's 100% clear that the pickup on an electric guitar and that pickup's setup, the pickup height, is the most important tone shaping factor. I don't think anyone who knows guitars will ever argue with that. It really starts to feel like arguing about religion, which is totally nonsense. You will never convince anyone that his or her beliefs are wrong, right? No way. And this is exactly how it feels about this whole wood thing. Which is fine. I don't care. I have my opinion. I have my experiences. I know what I pay attention to, and it always works for me. It doesn't mean that it's the truth for everyone. All right, let's continue with Joshua Daniels' comment, which came under the same reacting to that Tonewood video. Man, you've built your brand as an expert on extremely subtle differences in guitars, and Jim Lil just handed us all enough evidence to say confidently that nothing matters as much as a simple electronic swap and making sure your pickup height is set right. I get that you have to protect yourself and your business, but you're wrong on this. We were all wrong on this. The Super Squire guys were right all along. My main thoughts. First of all, I'm not protecting any businesses here. I'm just making videos on my private channel here, having fun, making these videos just because I enjoy making them. I don't, like, if you see this as business, yeah, I earn some money with it, but you don't want to know how much time I spend on this whole thing and how little the money is that I have after like all this work. This is the worst business ever. So if I only did this for the money, I would be really stupid. I would never ever do that because it's ridiculous. I'm not protecting anything. When I'm making reacting to a video like that, that's just my thoughts. Like, I know it's hard to believe because we're all so skeptical about everyone and everything, and everyone wants something. Like, what are the real thoughts? What is he not saying? Like, I am saying everything that I think. That's why I have this channel. I don't have to have this channel. I want to have this channel. And the only reason why I still consider this being my hobby, because first of all, I get to play guitar. I force myself to play guitar for certain reasons, like making a video, writing a song for a video, testing a new pedal, whatever it is. It's playing guitar and it's organized, and I need that to stick to regularly playing guitar. First of all. And the second thing is because it's fun, because I have some experience and I have some ideas and thoughts, and I love sharing them because I just love that. I didn't have anything like that when I started out, when I played guitar for a few years and I had to learn everything the hard way, and I can maybe help some others to have some shortcuts or just give some inspiration, and that is absolutely awesome. I love giving because I get back as well. I love seeing if someone says, wow, dude, so cool, thanks, you made me whatever do this or play that or whatever it is. It's absolutely awesome, and I sleep better if I see this kind of back and forth. And one more sentence about the pickup height. I don't want to sound rude, I really do not, but I cannot, I'm kind of shocked about this. How many people wrote this as some sort of a revelation that pickup height changes so much. And even in Jim's video, he was like, he showed the guitars with different pickup heights. It's like, why are you even showing this? This is not relevant. It's going to be so different. Obviously, I was surprised, and still I am, like people saying like, nah, we were all wrong, like Joshua, and you don't, you're wrong. Pickup height, that's what changes most. It's like, I know. That's not a surprise. I mean, then again, I have to keep in mind that because of my job, I get to set up tons of guitars and fix guitars, and I set up pickup height all the time. So to me, that's so obvious, but I keep on probably forgetting, which is not good, that for so many guitar players, a guitar is just as it is, and they just play it, and they don't think of the pickup height that much. And it can actually be a big surprise for a lot of viewers, like Jim's viewers, that a pickup height change will change a lot. And here's one last comment on this whole subject, on this wood subject. This is from Crinkle Bass. I will not read the whole comment because the question comes around the end. One question about the 10 to 5% that give the nuances you mentioned. In a live situation, do you think these nuances get completely lost, or on the contrary, are these the game changers? I mean, when trying to find your spot in a mix of drums, bass, another guitar, keys, whatever. Looking forward to your answer. Thank you in advance. Crinkle Bass. Thank you. That's totally fine. A very, very important question. And it's impossible to answer it with a generic yes or no. I've been shocked many times on shows when I tried a new piece of gear live the first time. Like I remember the first time playing my King of Tone pedal, which is a great dual-sided overdrive pedal, whatever. I waited very long to get one, and then I got one. And then the first show I played it was sort of a stressy show because I had to work and I didn't have time to arrive early enough for the sound check. So it was really like a last moment kind of situation. Like I arrived at the event and I literally ran on stage, threw my rig there, patched the cables, line check, like tunk, tunk, you have signal, fine, that's it, off stage. that was my sound check. And then we went on stage and played our first set. It was like a top 40 show, and we played our first set, and I was just struggling. Like I obviously made sure that it all sounds fine by myself at home. I set the pedal up a certain way, certain amount of gain, volume, blah, blah, blah. And it was absolutely super weird on stage. I had it in the overdrive setting, which still has tons of dynamics. And that was just weird, like so weird that I could actually control my volume by hitting the strings harder or lighter. And that is just not something we are used to if we are playing like overdriven or like classic rock stuff or whatever. It was absolutely weird, and I felt very insecure and terrible. So right after the first set in the break, I opened up the pedal, swapped it to distortion, and closed the pedal, put back on the board. And in the second set, I felt like a dream. It was awesome. It was still dynamic, but not as overwhelmingly dynamic, and it worked and sounded magical, and I still love the pedal. So I thought at home that I know what I'm getting. I thought like, okay, this is gonna be killer. Okay, right amount of gain, it stacks well, all good. Went on stage, the drummer counted in, and I was lost. Now that is my experience with live situation and different rigs. For example, like I remember loving the Boss Blues Driver alone way more than the SD1. Now, we had this jam session at one of the Thoman's Gearhead University events, and I went on stage, and it was like this small board with these two drive pedals, and I was like, oh yeah, cool, Blues Driver, the blue pedal. Turn it on, it's like, I cannot hear myself, I sound tiny, and what the hell? Jesus, had to crank the volume like hell, and I was like, I don't know, I still don't enjoy myself. And then I turned that off, turned the SD1 on, and it was magical. I was like, wow, this is my favorite overdrive ever. Then I played the SD1 again to remind myself of that tone the next day without a band, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the SD1 tone I know, and I like it. I own an OD1 even, but that's not my favorite kind of pretty tone that I would prefer when playing alone. It's a little bit too mid-humpy, not enough low end, not enough top end. In a band mix, these things become huge. So when talking about these nuances, the differences between guitars, there's 5 to 10%, which is for most people probably just 1%, if even. And for other people like me who are really picky about stuff, it's more about 5 to 10%. And that can be massive on stage. Not always, not necessarily. It's just unpredictable, really. I want to finish up this whole subject. So many attacked me and just have this general opinion about people who dare to say that wood also matters, is that all these people, including me, just want to sell their expensive crap and whatever. First of all, I don't want to sell anything. I don't have anything to sell other than my t-shirts, if you want to check it out. I have very, very cheap guitars as well. I don't know why people think that as soon as someone dares to say that wood is not irrelevant, it has some importance, that all these people are immediately just snobs and just want to push their 15,000 euro guitars or whatever. I don't know anyone like that. I know people who are as picky as me, and they will pay attention to this, and they will still have all kinds of guitars. They'll have an old Japanese Squire. They will have just a Harley Benton. They bought it for fun because it sounded surprisingly good, and then just put some pickups in it and they love it. They have also very expensive guitars because they appreciate guitars and could afford it and whatever. All kinds of guitars. To me, it's the same thing. I bought this guitar out of, well, I didn't even buy it. I bought the Harley Benton kit where this body is from, and I found the neck and just paired them and put sweet things on it. And it's an awesome guitar. Same thing for my Harley Benton EX76, the white Explorer shaped guitar, which I bought for under 100 euros. How does that fit in that picture? What kind of expensive crap do I want to promote? Or I don't understand this whole thing. This feels like a conspiracy, really, and I mean a conspiracy theory more. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. I've answered these questions also so many times. I don't want to anymore. It's just so interesting how some people connect this opinion that wood matters with some sort of a conspiracy and with expensive stuff. A cheap guitar can be as good as an expensive guitar. They just don't get selected. So you will have to go through a couple of them until you find one that's super awesome for you. And if someone's really picky and played hundreds of guitars throughout the years, it's even harder to impress a person like that, but it does happen a lot. And I also have the cheapest Gibson on the planet, the CM model, which I bought in 2015, the most hated year of Gibson. I played a chord on a guitar. I was like, well, I don't care if it's the cheapest Gibson ever, like 300, 400 euros. Not sure, it was like super inexpensive. It's like, it's an awesome guitar. I want it. I don't, you know. fellow Hungarian, András Domjan. Hey Kris, first of all, congrats for your channel. It is good to see a Hungarian musician doing such a fine job on YouTube in English. Hajrá, hajrá, csak így tovább. Besides the contest, I have a question about this pedal, about the War's Audio D1 delay. It may be a dumb question, but how do you hook up this pedal, especially in stereo, considering that the signal coming from a guitar is usually mono? The stereo out is understandable if I had 2 amps, but the stereo in still confuses me. Thanks. First of all, thank you, András. This is way simpler than you think, which is good, which is always good. It has stereo in and stereo out because it is prepared to be used with, let's say, a stereo chorus or a stereo whatever modulation pedal or that comes in front of it. Okay, so if you are using already something that splits your mono signal to stereo, a modulation effect will do that if it's a stereo one, then you want to stick to that stereo signal, right? You don't want to sum it to mono and then in the delay split it again, because then the stereo-ness of that pedal in front of the D1, it doesn't matter at all anymore, because you've summed the signal and then it became mono again, which you don't want. So that's why the D1 has 2 inputs and 2 outputs, because if you already have a stereo pedal in front of it, you can just keep on separating those 2 sides, the left side and the right side. Just stick to left going into D1 left, the right of that modulation, stereo modulation pedal going into the right input of the D1, and then do the same thing. If you have a reverb after it, you can still stick to left goes into left, right goes into right, and then you split the signal into the 2 amps. So that's the reason why it has a stereo input as well. And lucky us, most of these pedals are so clever that that they automatically recognize if you just have one cable plugged in, which in this case has to go into the mono input or input 1 or whatever it's called, and then just go out stereo, which will work the same way. It kind of recognizes it if there's a second input plugged in. If not, then it will split your mono signal into stereo. If you have both cables plugged in, because you are already stereo, then it will just stick to right goes through the pedal in the right side and left goes through the pedal on the left side. So it gives you options, really. That's it. And it's way more simple than you think. You can use it mono, just mono in, mono out, or mono into stereo, or 2 signals come in, like a stereo signal comes in and goes out as well. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or anything you want to share, you know where the comment section is. Meet you down there and see you next week in a new video. I'll be back. Bye-bye.